Let me tell you the story of my first ever like-for-like manifestation success. What I mean by that was this success was the first ever thing that I'd visualized, and it happened exactly the same as my visualization. This is a process that I sort of played about with after the success and had multiple consistent successes with it afterward, which means you can use it also. Now, for those of you who don't like visualization, I also have an affirmation variant that I used as well, a little bit more down the line, that was also extremely consistent. So here I'll be able to give you a visualization and an affirmation. However, the story goes as such. This was during that period that I spoke about in, I can't remember which video it was exactly, but when I'd first found the law of assumption, and I was doing a lot of researching and such things like that, and I'd mentioned that I had a few successes with visualizations that I'd done. Well, this was that success. Now, the visualization was to manifest a text from someone. It was more of a test as opposed to me, really needing that text to happen, sort of being super interested in this person. However, I was talking to my friend a lot at that period of time about what I was learning and just, how interesting this all was. And they said, you should test it out, So I did. I ended up testing it. And that night, as I was going to sleep, I brought to mind this visualization. Now, the visualization initially started off with me seeing this person's phone through their eyes, then pulling up my name, typing out the text that I wanted to receive, and then sending it over to me. The rest of the visualization, so I imagined them sending it off, and then my visualization went into my own eyes, picking up my phone and seeing that text come in. I did that probably like 2 or 3 times while trying to visualize it, trying to make it as full of a scene as possible. Now, I'm not an amazing visualizer, so when I say full, I mean doing what I could, not, it was the perfect scene. And the day after, literally the day after, I was sat at the same table that I was sat in the visualization. I'd picked up my phone, I'd gone to respond to one of my friends on Instagram, and underneath them was, because this person I had spoken to before, but it wasn't really a case of consistent communication. Underneath them, it said this person, and on Instagram when it says is typing, it said, or it did back then, I don't know if it still does now, but this was a couple of years ago, and it said this person is typing, and the message that came through was exactly the same as the message that I had visualized them sending me the night before. I click on it, I open it up, and it felt like I'd been there before, because I had. It was the familiarity of doing the scene and clearly impressing my subconscious mind with it. So I, picked up the message, clicked on it, exactly the same scene. And I immediately rang my friend and was like, this is crazy, and told them the story. And this was actually a visualization that I had done numerous different times on numerous different people to see if it worked. Some of which were some people that I would not have expected to hear from. However, this process really worked for me. One of them was an old friend that I hadn't spoken to in literally years. And while we didn't necessarily end on bad terms, we definitely didn't end on good terms. I visualized them sending me a message. It must have been about 3 or 4 days later, I received a message from them basically saying, hey, how's everything going? I know it's been a long time, but, I'd love to hear from you. Now, admittedly, that wasn't exactly the scene that I had visualized. I had only visualized them just saying, hey, what's up? But it was essentially the same thing. And within 3 or 4 days, it had worked. Now, the affirmation variant. This was something that I'd done, and there is a full-length video on my membership as well if you're interested in seeing it. But this was something that I had done a little bit later down the line, like I mentioned, for someone that I was interested in. Now, I found this a lot harder to do, not the process, but getting the text from them a lot harder to do until I found this process due to my inability to let go. But what I would do is I would literally say to myself, I intend for person to message me. I then put my phone down and I left it alone until I absolutely needed to go on my phone or felt convicted to, i.e., inspired action and checking my phone. And I say this with absolute honesty, because all of my videos are as genuine, authentic, and honest as I could possibly be in them. This would work near enough every single time. I would just literally say to myself, I intend for a specific person to message me. I would put my phone away, often just in my room, and go off and do something else. When doing this other thing, I would completely block out this message, what I was trying to do, as if I hadn't done anything at all, and I would really focus on what I was doing, whether it was watching a TV show with my sister, playing games with my mates online. At that time I was doing a lot of physical exercise training, so I was doing that. I would really throw myself into it, and the reason why I did that was because while I'd found a lot more success and comfort in the law of assumption, I still liked some of the elements of law of attraction when it was very much, set it and forget it kind of thing. So I tested it, and I would literally set it and not necessarily forget it, but I would throw myself into whatever it was that I was doing until I felt called or compelled to go back. And near enough every single time, maybe not necessarily like straight away, but that person would message me. And I can assure you, and anybody that was involved in that time period that knows the dynamic would be able to back this up in the sense of it definitely wasn't the kind of dynamic way that you would expect them to be messaging me. I was very much like the little puppy in the situation, which makes me feel really embarrassed now, but back then I was none the wiser, and it was still getting me success. And these are two processes that I've used that have been extremely effective at manifesting communication with people. Now, I have actually done these same things with manifesting other things also, i.e. clients that come to me for a consultation said that they would get back to me. I've done these processes. I intend for a person to get back to me saying they want coaching, or often I would actually say coming back to me for coaching, implying that they've actually paid for it. I've done this with waiting to hear back from like friends. I've done this when waiting to receive money back from people I've lent money to. All of these kinds of things. And it has been extremely successful for me. I do genuinely find that the visualization is the most successful because I feel like I can really immerse myself into it and really direct the flow of everything. But these are two processes that I found at the very beginning that I'd had extreme success with. And I'm kind of losing track of what videos I've spoke about what, because I've obviously done one every single day for like 9 days now, I think. But I mentioned this in one of my previous videos, basically saying I'd had a few consistent successes, but other than that, nothing too major. These are those consistent successes that I was talking about. These are those instances where I'd done a few visualizations at night, but that was about it. This is what I'm talking about. And there's still processes that have stuck with me since then, because I found them extremely effective and I found them to be quite easy to do. It's very easy to just say, I intend to, and then I intend for a person to message me and then put down the phone. Now, I know some of you are probably going to kick back with, I need to go on my phone, or I have other people that I need to speak to on my phone. I can't just leave my phone alone. And yes, that may absolutely be the case. So what I would recommend for you, if you do try this, is to simply just not look at your phone as a means for, have they messaged me yet? If you have an intention to go on your phone, throw yourself into whatever it is that you're intending to do on your phone instead of looking for the result. I think one thing that trips a lot of people up is they do these processes, the affirmations, the visualizations, the scripting, and then they immediately go looking for the results. Or when they're in an area where they'd expect a result, i.e. going on their phone, they then start going, oh, still no text, still no text. You're going to want to not do that. You're going to want to allow it to flow in when it flows in. And in fact, the more that you can just hold that vision in your mind, or that the intention of the affirmation in your mind as done, the easier it's going to be. As I've mentioned in quite a lot of my videos, and especially in a lot of my coaching, I am very relaxed in what I do. I'll do my techniques and then just go off and do my own thing. I don't sit there waiting, I don't sit there checking, I don't do any of that shit. I don't even care if I don't get the stuff half the time. And that, I think, is what attributes to a lot of my success. In these examples that I gave you, when doing the process, I then let go of it in a sense of, it's going to come, as opposed to, has it come yet? Why has it not come yet? It's been 3 days, it's been this, it's been that. So I recommend you trial this, and I recommend you trial it with anything. This is obviously advocated towards texts because that's where I found the success in it. But I do recommend you try this with other things because it has worked for me when it comes to getting interviews. It has worked for me when it comes to getting coaching clients, like paying clients. It has worked for me when I've been needing to get money back from people I've lent it to. So it's definitely not limited to texting, but the story goes that I found both these techniques and extreme success within the techniques via using them to try to manifest texts. So I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, let me know down below in the comment section or the description. If you are in need of any of my one-to-one coaching, by all means check down below in the comment section or the description. There you'll find the link to my Linktree, where you can see the link to my website where I have coaching services available. And if you enter 10k subs in all capital letters, that will get you 10% off of everything that you purchase. Join the membership because it's currently 10% discounted also, and that will be your price until you decide to cancel it. And on there you can get tons of videos that aren't on YouTube, free worksheets, the full Manifesto Expert guide, and lots of amazing things. Grab my ebook, follow my social medias, and I will see you lovely people in the next one.